Do not die!
Hey everyone! Before we start this amazing story, drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. Are you in New York, California, Texas, or somewhere else? Let's see how many states we can get. Tommy sat on the hard concrete steps outside the old library in downtown Chicago. His stomach growled loudly, reminding him he hadn't eaten since yesterday morning. People walked past him quickly, their fancy shoes clicking on the sidewalk. Nobody looked at him. Nobody ever did. The autumn sun was bright, but cold. Tommy pulled his thin jacket tighter around his small body. He was only 10 years old, but life on the streets had made him tough. His brown eyes watched the busy crowd, hoping someone might drop some coins or leave food behind. Suddenly, a strange sound cut through the noise of the city. Thump! Tommy's head snapped up. Across the street, near the big fountain, a woman had fallen to the ground. Her fancy purse scattered across the sidewalk. People stepped around her like she was invisible, just like they did to him. But something was wrong. Very wrong. The woman wasn't moving. Her face looked pale, almost gray. Her chest moved up and down in tiny, scary breaths. Tommy's heart began to pound. Should he help? Would anyone believe him? Would they think he was trying to steal from her? His feet made a decision before his brain could. He ran across the street, dodging cars that honked angrily at him. He dropped to his knees beside the woman. Ma'am, can you hear me? His voice shook. Her eyes fluttered open for just a second. They were green, like emeralds. Then they closed again. Help! Tommy screamed at the crowd. Somebody help. People stared. Some took out their phones to record. But nobody came closer. Tommy's hands trembled as he gently touched her shoulder. She felt cold. Too cold. He remembered something he'd seen on a TV in a store window once. You're supposed to keep sick people warm. He took off his jacket, his only jacket, and laid it over her chest. His fingers searched her fancy coat pockets, looking for a phone. He found one, big, expensive, with a cracked screen. He pressed a button, but it was locked. Then his fingers touched something else. Something cold and metal. A key, but not a normal key. This one was silver and had strange symbols carved into it. It looked important, maybe even magical. Please, Tommy whispered to the woman. Please don't die. A businessman finally stopped. He looked annoyed. What happened here? She collapsed. Call 911. Please. Tommy begged. The man pulled out his phone, finally making the call Tommy couldn't make. Within minutes, sirens screamed to Chicago streets. Red and white lights flashed everywhere. Paramedics rushed over with a big stretcher and lots of equipment. Good job, kid, one paramedic said, checking the woman's pulse. You might have saved her life. They lifted her onto the stretcher. Tommy noticed something he hadn't seen before. Under her coat, she wore a necklace with diamonds that sparkled in the sunlight. Real diamonds. Lots of them. Who was she? The ambulance doors started to close. Wait! Tommy shouted. Can I come? She's alone. The paramedic looked at Tommy's dirty clothes and messy hair. But something in the boy's eyes made him nod. Get in. Quick. Tommy climbed into the ambulance, his heart racing faster than ever before. The woman lay still, machines beeping around her. He held the strange silver key tightly in his hand. He had no idea that this moment, this one choice to help a stranger, would change his entire life forever. The hospital smelled like cleaning spray and medicine. Tommy sat in an uncomfortable plastic chair in the waiting room, his stomach twisting with worry. Nurses rushed past him. Nobody asked why a dirty homeless boy was sitting there alone. 3 hours passed. Tommy's eyes grew heavy, but he refused to leave. He kept thinking about the woman's face, so pale and cold. Finally, a doctor came out. She had kind eyes and a tired smile. Are you the boy who called for help? She asked. Tommy nodded quickly. Is she okay? She's stable now. Thanks to you acting so fast. We got to her in time. The doctor knelt down to his level. She had a heart problem. If you hadn't been there, well, you're a hero. Tommy's cheeks burned. Nobody had ever called him a hero before. Can I see her? He whispered. The doctor hesitated. looking at his torn shoes and dirty face. But something made her say yes. Room 304. Just for a minute. Tommy walked down the long hallway, his heart beating like a drum. He pushed open the door slowly. The woman lay in the white hospital bed, awake now. Her green eyes were sharp and clear. They locked onto Tommy the moment he entered. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then she smiled. A real smile, warm and grateful. "You saved my life," she said softly. Her voice sounded strong, like someone used to giving orders. "What's your name?" "Tommy, ma'am." "Tommy." She repeated it like she was memorizing it. "Come closer, please." He stepped forward nervously. Up close, he could see her face better. She was younger than he thought, maybe 40. And her eyes, they looked sad, even when she smiled. "Why did you help me?" she asked. "Everyone else just walked by." Tommy shrugged. "You needed help. That's reason enough, isn't it?" Something flickered in her eyes. Surprise? Respect? Tommy couldn't tell. She reached for her purse on the bedside table. Her hands moved to a secret pocket inside. She pulled out a white business card and pressed it into Tommy's hand. "My name is Victoria Hayes," she said quietly. "If you ever need anything, food, clothes, a place to stay, you call this number. Promise me." Tommy looked at the card. The letters were gold and shiny. It just said her name and a phone number. Nothing else. I don't have a phone," Tommy admitted, embarrassed. Victoria's eyes grew even sadder. "Where do you live, Tommy?" He looked at his feet. "Nowhere. Everywhere. I sleep in different places." Victoria was quiet for a long time. When Tommy looked up, he saw tears in her eyes. "How old are you?" 10. "Where are your parents?" Tommy's throat got tight. "My mom died 2 years ago. I never knew my dad. Foster care was bad, so I ran away." Victoria wiped her eyes quickly. She sat up straighter in bed, wincing a little from pain. "Tommy, I want you to keep that card. And I want you to keep this too." She reached into her purse again and pulled out 5 $20 bills. Tommy's eyes went wide. That was more money than he'd seen in months. "I can't." "Yes, you can. You saved my life. This is nothing compared to that." She folded the bills and put them in his hand with the card. "Buy yourself food, real food, and new shoes. Those have holes in them." Tommy's eyes burned with tears he refused to let fall. "One more thing," Victoria said. She pulled the strange silver key from her purse, the one Tommy had found. "This key is very special to me. I want you to have it. But..." Listen carefully. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "This key opens something important. Something I've been protecting for a very long time. I don't know why, but I trust you, Tommy. Maybe because you helped me when nobody else would. Keep it safe. One day, I'll tell you what opens." Tommy held the cold key in his hand. It felt heavy with secrets. A nurse came in. "Visiting time is over." Tommy backed toward the door. "Get better, ma'am. Call me Victoria." "And Tommy," she smiled again, "you're going to see me again very soon. I promise." Tommy left the hospital in a daze. In his pocket, he had money, a business card, and a mysterious key. The autumn sun was setting, painting the Chicago sky orange and pink. For 3 days, Tommy used the money carefully. He bought hot meals, new socks, and a warm hat. But he kept thinking about Victoria, about her sad eyes, about the strange key that seemed to grow warmer in his pocket each day. On the 4th day, everything changed. Tommy was sitting in his usual spot near the library when a shiny black car pulled up to the curb. Not just any car, a limousine, long and expensive. People on the street stopped to stare. The back window rolled down. Victoria looked out at him, wearing sunglasses and a beautiful coat. "Get in, Tommy," she said. "We have a lot to talk about." Tommy's mouth fell open. "I what?" "Trust me," she said, and those words echoed in his heart. He looked around at the people staring, at the street that had been his home, at his old life. Then he opened the door and climbed into the car. The door closed behind him with a soft click. The inside smelled like leather and perfume. Victoria sat across from him, smiling mysteriously. "Do you know who I am, Tommy?" she asked as the car started moving. He shook his head. "I'm the owner of Hayes Industries. Have you heard of it?" Tommy shook his head again. Victoria laughed softly. "I own 15 companies. Hotels, technology, hospitals. I'm worth $3 billion. Tommy's brain couldn't understand that number. $3 billion? That wasn't even real. And you, my brave little hero, just saved the life of one of the richest women in America. The limousine drove through Chicago's fanciest neighborhood. Tommy pressed his face against the window, staring at houses bigger than entire apartment buildings. His heart pounded with nervousness and excitement. Victoria watched him with that mysterious smile. "Tommy, I didn't bring you here just to say thank you," she said carefully. "I brought you here because I have a secret I've never told anyone." Tommy turned from the window, listening. 10 years ago, I had a son." Victoria's voice cracked. "His name was Michael. He was your age when he died in a car accident." "I'm sorry," Tommy whispered. Victoria nodded, wiping her eyes. "After he died, I threw myself into work. I built my companies. I made billions of dollars. But nothing filled the emptiness inside me. Nothing until you saved my life." The car stopped in front of a huge mansion with a golden gate. "When I woke up in that hospital and saw you, a boy with nothing, who gave everything to save a stranger, I saw something I thought was gone from the world. Pure kindness. The kind Michael had." Victoria pulled out a folder from her briefcase. "Tommy, that key I gave you? It opens a safety deposit box in Chicago First Bank. Inside that box is a legal document I had my lawyers prepare 3 days ago." Tommy's hands shook as he held the key. "That document says you are now my legal son, if you want to be." The world stopped spinning. Tommy couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't believe what he just heard. "You want to adopt me?" "Yes." Victoria's eyes were full of tears now. "I want to give you everything, Tommy. A home, an education, a family. But most importantly, I want to give you the chance to become whoever you dream of being." Tommy's own tears finally fell. "But why me? You don't even know me." Victoria leaned forward and took his small hands in hers. "I know enough. You're brave. You're kind. And you helped someone when the whole world walked by. That tells me everything I need to know about your heart." The mansion gates opened. The car drove through a beautiful garden with fountains and flowers everywhere. "There's more," Victoria said. "That heart problem I had, the doctors told me something after you left. I need a special surgery, and it's risky. If something happens to me, everything I own, the companies, the money, this house, it goes to you." "No," Tommy shouted. "Don't say that. You're going to be fine." Victoria smiled. "I hope so. But I needed you to know. You changed my life, Tommy. Now I want to change yours." The next 6 months were like a beautiful dream. Tommy moved into the mansion. He got his own room bigger than any place he'd ever slept. Victoria enrolled him in the best private school in Chicago. He learned to read better, do math, and even speak a little Spanish. But the best part wasn't the fancy stuff. It was having a mom again. Someone who asked about his day. Someone who helped with homework. Someone who hugged him goodnight. Victoria had her surgery, and it went perfectly. The doctor said she'd live a long, healthy life. One day, Tommy came home from school with an idea. "Mom," he'd started calling her that. "Can I ask you something?" "Anything, sweetheart." "All those kids still living on the streets, the ones like I used to be, can we help them?" Victoria's eyes lit up. "What did you have in mind?" Together, they created the Michael and Tommy Foundation. They built shelters across Chicago where homeless kids could sleep safely. They opened schools where kids could learn for free. They created programs to help families stay together. News reporters heard about the billionaire and the homeless boy she adopted. The story went viral across America. People called it a miracle, a fairy tale come true. But Tommy knew it wasn't magic. It was choice. Victoria chose to see him when everyone else looked away. And he chose to help a stranger when it would have been easier to walk past. One year after the day they met, Tommy and Victoria stood at the opening of their tent shelter. Hundreds of kids cheered and clapped. Kids who now had hope because Tommy and Victoria refused to forget where they came from. A reporter pushed through the crowd. "Tommy, what's your secret? How did you go from homeless to one of the most famous kids in America?" Tommy looked at Victoria, who nodded encouragingly. "There's no secret." Tommy said into the microphone, "I just did what anyone should do. I helped someone who needed it, and she did the same for me. That's all kindness is. Seeing people when everyone else looks away." The crowd erupted in applause. That night, back at the mansion, Victoria and Tommy sat on the porch watching the sunset over Chicago. The same city that once ignored a homeless boy now celebrated him as a hero. "Do you ever miss the old life?" Victoria asked quietly. Tommy thought about it. "I miss the simplicity sometimes. But no, I don't miss being invisible, being cold, being scared." "Good." Victoria put her arm around him. "Because you're never going to be invisible again. You're going to change the world, Tommy. I can feel it." Tommy smiled, holding the silver key in his pocket. The key that unlocked not just a safety deposit box, but his entire future. "We'll change it together, Mom, just like we've been doing." And they did. Over the next 10 years, the Michael and Tommy Foundation helped over 50,000 kids find homes, get education, and escape poverty. Tommy grew up to become a powerful voice for children everywhere. He wrote books, gave speeches at the United Nations, started companies that created jobs for people who society had forgotten, all because one cold autumn day in Chicago, a 10-year-old boy chose kindness over fear, and a grieving billionaire chose love over loneliness. Their story proved that sometimes the people you save end up saving you right back. I'm not crying, you're crying. Drop in the comments if this story touched your heart. Did you subscribe yet? If this story moved you, you need to subscribe to Story That's Saved right now. We bring you the most powerful, emotional, life-changing stories every single week. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss another incredible story. Share this video with someone who needs hope today. Let's spread kindness together. Comment below. What would you do if you found someone collapsed on the street? Be honest and tell us where you're watching from. Drop your city and country below. Thank you for watching Story That Save. Remember, one act of kindness can change everything. See you in the next story.